I think, when I think of Tegan Finn, I think of Tegan Finn cutting in from the right wing, cutting in and sticking it in the top corner is how I remember him. And I've seen him score that goal so many times throughout the age groups. And he's got a knack of it, really. So, yeah, that's the image I have. However, I've described that in a bit longer than a sentence. But, yeah, cutting in from the right-hand side and sticking it in the top corner.
Argyle now making another change, and it's a senior debut for Tegan Finn, taking to the field, replacing Ryan Hardy.
He's always been a pleasure. He was always into football from as young as I can remember. I remember his first crawl, he crawled to a ball. So from that moment, I knew he was always going to be football mad. He was difficult to buy for as a child because he never played with anything else. So you can only have so much football stuff in your life, like goals, kickboards, every football, every shin pad, every pair of boots. So yeah, he's just been football crazy all his life.
I think ever since I was like a little baby, I always wanted to be playing with footballs and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, that's it really, just playing football, having fun, that was it.
I don't think it still feels like that, because I think his football career has been from very young. So I think for him, for me personally, it's always just felt like his team. I never looked at Argyle as being something massive, if that makes sense. Like, he's didn't even play for a local team before he joined Argyle. So that felt like his local team. So I suppose up until him signing his pro, I didn't think of it as being anything other than that's his team, that's his teammates, that's what he loves to do. It took up all of our lives, but we've had such an amazing journey with it. It's been such good fun.
Just travel far?
Yeah, miles. Yeah, yeah. What did we do? It was always like Cardiff, Bristol, Oxford, Cheltenham. Yeah, Cheltenham. Then we went to the QPR tournament, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did that. We stayed overnight for that one because it was a 2-day thing. But for his journey, like for all of his football career, we obviously went to Jersey twice. 2 years in a row. We spent a whole week in Jersey. That was a schoolboys tournament, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we did that 2 years in a row. Yeah, we've done a lot of travelling. And I think then we'd leave at 6 in the morning. We wouldn't get back till 6 in the evening. It was long days. So this is what I did 3-4 nights a week, every single week, rain or shine. We travelled miles. Every Saturday, it would be drop them off at home park, 6 in the morning on away games, and we'd be in the car for hours, literally take up our whole day. And then, yeah, literally every single night would be, I think it was Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays to begin with, the training, then that up to a Friday, and then it was games on Saturdays. So we've just, yeah, it's taken up our whole lives. But in the next breath, I think he loved it, so when you see your child doing something they love, it's worth it.
First time, he came in as year 7. He was under 12s at Argyle at the time. People that are listening to this and watching this will know that he was one of those exceptional players. As soon as you see him, good coaches can spot good players, and he was that player. At under 12s, you give him a ball, he'd be off doing all the tricks, flicks, skills, etc., etc. His ball manipulation, ball mastery, he was one of those. And then as he then matured through the year, he got then better and better. He would be a matchman, even at under 12s, which was played 9v9. He was a match winner. He'd be like, right, give the ball to Tegan, and he'd be like, beat 2 or 3 players, and who is this kid, sort of thing. You know what I mean? He was a very, very talented lad, and still is. It was that. All the other boys would just go out and have a, when you say to him, right, just go and do your own little bit, do your own little warm up, he would do all his warm up, he would do all his stretches and stuff like that. And he was very, very focused even at that age. And I think he probably realised that when he looked at other players. When you're Argyle and you come to another, you come to another school and you come to a football academy school, he looked at the other boys then and was like, you know what, these are going to push me as well. So not only was he getting the challenge at Argyle, he's getting the challenge in school. And that helped him, you know, so he wasn't just doing sessions here and there at a high level. It was like consistent, and he was really, really good in the fact that he was able to rise to those challenges even as a 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old. He just kept on rising to those challenges through the games that and the training that we provided him.
So Tegan has probably been in the academy as long as I have. So right away from day dot really, at pre-academy came in, was part of our centre of excellence and pre-academy, and has worked all the way through the age groups. So yeah, I've had the pleasure of him and watching him at different stages of development, right the way from little into where he is now. Yeah, so Tegan was always a player that was exciting, would love to dribble, would love to take players on, and always had that as part of his game. And I think that was when he turned up to training, even when we're in a sports hall, doing futsal, or in the smaller formats, you know, as you go through the age groups, 5v5, 7v7, 9v9, he'd always be that player that would love to shoot, would love to dribble, would love to score. And he's always kept that with him, and that's the attributes that, you know, he does and enjoys on a daily basis. Yeah, I think it's massive. You know, over the last 5 years, we've been really thriving to build a pathway to the football club and to the first team. And I think Tegan's one of many players now that's evidencing that there is a real clear pathway, and that's just an inspiration really to all the young players. So when they come in and get invited to FA Youth Cups, or they come and get invited to the Academy Day, they can see those players, and they've been in a position right the way from under 9 all the way through. They've put in the hard work, they've attended the academy 3-4 times a week, the long distances they travel and all the commitment, but they can see at the end of it, you know, you put the work in and you continue to listen to the coaches, then there is a chance and there is a real pathway for players at this football club, and hopefully many more.
So much. They've helped me so much, because I think when I was younger, I trained up a few age groups, and like I felt like I was getting to a bit where everyone was bigger than me and I was bullying me a bit, so they put me back to my own age. I think that's what helped me the most with me developing, is going back to my own age. So I'd probably say that, just helping me develop technically, physically, always helping me 100% after sessions, doing extra bits. So I think they helped me a lot, to be fair.
It was at Ivybridge Community College in the sports hall. It was actually my first ever coaching session as well. So I come back from Australia and got a job at the academy after playing, and he was part of the under 9 group at the time, but he was a pre-academy player who was playing up an age group. So yeah, really fond memories of those times. I thought he had an excellent left foot. He was very small, and obviously he was playing up an age group, so that kind of was probably even more obvious at the time. But his left foot was always incredible. And the way that he could manipulate the ball and the way that he could take players on 1v1, I think it was obvious to all of us staff that, you know, he was a talented young player.
I think Bradders always wants to help. I think Jamie Lowry as well, always wanted to help after sessions, helping me develop my weaknesses and my strengths as well to make them even better. So I think them two are the main ones really.
I don't know really, because he's always been so focused. So I think probably when he got his scholar, when he got his 2-year scholarship, I think that's when I think the realisation hit in for him. He didn't really particularly enjoy school. So for him it was, I have to be focused on this. So I think that changed. But he's always has such a strict routine. Like his bedtime routine's always been the same. He gets up, he eats well. Like I think because he's always been so focused, there's never been a pinnacle point where I thought, oh my God, he's taken this serious, because he's always taken it serious. From literally the minute he could kick a ball. It's been his only focus.
To be fair, I think I had to be a footballer because I've got nothing else to like go with, but yeah, I think, yeah, I had to be a footballer.
What is it like now watching Tegan play for Argyle?
Sorry, I jumped in then because I was excited to answer it. It's the best feeling in the world, and it's like the same with the boys we've had in the past, Oscar Halls, Will Jenkins-Davis, Freddie, Caleb, Joe Hatch these days as well. We all sit together up in the stand, and when I feel a substitute's about to come on, I'm stood up looking at the dugout, praying it's one of the academy lads to come on. And then when you do see that name on the back of the shirt and the gaffer giving them instructions and Nance giving them the instructions, you get nervous for them to start with. And then once they get on the pitch, you're just willing them to do what you know that they can do. And it gives you those hairs on the back of your neck moment for sure. I've had that, you know, a few times now, and ultimately I think that's why we all do the job. You know, it can be really tough when you stood out at Ivybridge at 9 o'clock at night in the freezing cold and the rain and all the rest of it. And those moments where you see the boys walk onto the pitch make it all worth it and more.
Oh, I don't feel like I can breathe half the time, especially now. Not so much when he was young. I used to be one of those excited parents on the sideline that would be cheering every single goal, cheering every single move. But now it's more serious, and I feel like I can't breathe when he's playing now. Until he comes off, I'm like, oh, I can breathe now. I think you watch their every move. You worry if they make a mistake. You worry if they do something wrong and what people are going to say about that. So that for me now is where his football journey's changed for me as a parent, because I worry about him, what the backlash will be if he does anything wrong. Whereas before I didn't have that, because if he made a mistake, it didn't matter because he'd just pick himself back up, whereas you've got thousands of people now watching your every move. So that's where it's changed for me as a parent, I think for both me and my husband. But the moment, when he steps on that pitch, you just feel like it's meant to happen because you've watched it for so many years, but at the same time, it just feels surreal. It's really double-edged for us, but yeah. Oh, massive. I think he is Argyle through and through. I think from the minute he started at Argyle, I mean, they took him, so I think he started training when he was 2, just in like a Saturday, like a little kicker as it was called. So he started that when he was 2, and then I think Argyle took him when he was 5 to the pre-academy. So they took him a year early, and then it just went on from there. But he is Argyle mad. He always has been. He knows every player that's played before. He could tell you what they've scored and who they scored against. So he's always been Argyle mad. So I think for him, signing that professional contract was the pinnacle of his career, so to say, really. Like, I think he'd dreamt of it, and especially playing at Home Park. I think that moment he come on at Home Park was massive for him. He loved it.
Yeah, I think it's because I was so young and I've always been going to the games and stuff with my family. I think when you play for him, it means so much more because obviously I've literally been a fan since I was a kid, what I can remember. So I think playing in front of the fans at Home Park, it means so much to me, like, and my family is just like the best feeling. A lot, to be fair. It's my first secondary school, my only secondary school. And yeah, I really enjoyed it here. Some good teachers like Mr. Leonard. Obviously, playing football with my mates and stuff, so yeah, good memories. They're really important. The Astros got a lot better since when I first joined, but yeah, it's really important because obviously people want to be playing football, doing all the sports, so yeah, it's really important to have a nice facility to play on, and with some good staff as well. I think maybe like 15s, because I was quite small, so I was like a bit underdeveloped compared to everyone else, so I knew I was quite technically good, but obviously I was a bit smaller and slower than everyone else, because obviously everyone develops different. So I think probably 15s when I'd grown a bit, I thought maybe I got a bit of a chance, but yeah, I'd probably say 15s.
I think it's exciting for everyone, and I think it's inevitable that I think human beings always kind of think, right, what's he going to look like 6, 7, 8 years down the line? But at the time, he was just a kid, like all the kids at the academy. He loved football. He was absolutely obsessed by the ball, and like I said, the little probably X factor that he had at the time was his ability to manipulate the ball really well past people. And then when he got into that kind of final moment, his ball striking at such a young age for such a small player as well at the time was phenomenal. I have so many memories of him sticking the ball in the top corner, and kind of us lot as staff looking around at each other with big grins on our faces, thinking, you know, fingers crossed, hopefully we all do our jobs properly, and he flourishes. And hopefully we can see him do that, you know, out at Home Park one day.
Yeah, he was very good. He was very receptive, and you could see he needed to be more challenged, and he would not question things, but he would just be a little bit like, oh, I'm not sure about that, and I'll be, well, the reasons are, I want you to do that because you need to do X, Y, Z. So if you just do that, you're going to get closed down. You don't with the ball kicking off. So it was that extra little bit. Not that he would, we always say to them, in school, question us. If we're asking you to do something, there has to be a methodology behind it. There has to be a reason to why you want him to do something like that. And he was more inquisitive to be like, oh, well, why do I need to do that? What's the purpose of me doing this and doing that? And that's what we want them to be like. We want them to own their own game, but be questionable to why we want them to do stuff. And I think that's the beauty of coaching, like, better players, but also older players. They become more inquisitive as to why, when, how, sort of thing. Whereas the younger generation be like, yeah, okay, I'll do that, no problem. But there's no difference in between the two. What they need at a younger age and what Tegan needs as he's getting older, and the older player needs are the same, but in two different categories.
So if I think about Tegan's journey as a whole, it's a really interesting one, and I've thought about it a lot over the years. So from 7, 8, 9, 10, definitely a top talent within his age group and the age groups around it, and was doing really well, scored lots of goals, contributed in games really well, and then probably had a bit of a struggle through the ages of 12, 13 into 14. I think other players around him physically developed, whereas he was a bit later. So he struggled to do the things that he was doing when he was younger. And then post that sort of 50 into 15, 16s, and then obviously last year when he was a first year apprentice, I think we saw what we saw in the foundation phase when he was a lot younger. We saw that again once he'd kind of grown and developed into his body as well. So his journey, he had to deal with a couple of years there where things weren't very easy for him. And I think as staff, we showed a little bit of patience with him there. Obviously understanding what he looked like when he was a kid, when he was really small, and obviously hopefully that would then transfer into his older years, which it inevitably has. But his journey wasn't smooth by any means, and there was definitely a couple of years in there where there was struggle. Tegan was challenging at times, which is great. I like coaching kids that are challenging for sure. And what I mean by that was we had to work really hard with Tegan around his mentality, around when things didn't go well. He's an exciting player, so if you're going to go and try things in the final third and take players on and try and produce goals and assists, it's going to go wrong at times. You're not going to always get it right, especially as a kid as well. And Teagues used to get a little bit hard on himself at times, and probably still does as well when I watch him out at home park now. So a lot of work went into him around, the next action was the most important, rather than thinking about what had gone on in the past. In terms of his technical ability and his ability to take players on and stick the ball in the top corner, Jamie, Larry and I talk about this quite often. None of us taught him that. We can definitely not take any credit for any of that. He came into the building being able to do that. We might have given him opportunities to practice for sure, but in terms of his natural ability to be exciting in the final third, he's definitely always had that, and I think we really tried to help him enhance his mentality towards doing those actions really.
It helped me so many times. I think Jamie, when I was last year as a first year, I had a few times where I'd be really frustrated with maybe not getting game time, because obviously sometimes I'd be travelling with the first team and not playing at all. I think there's been a few times where he's helped me a lot, because obviously I get a bit frustrated about not playing and stuff. I think him and Brad has helped me a lot throughout the years. I think because you can get to know him on a really personal level, so I think he knows me really well. So if I need a in about something on the pitch, or if I need a bit of praise, a bit of boost, I think he knows the level of which I need. So because obviously he's been with me since I was a 9-year-old kid, so I think he's known me for so long. He knows what I need and what I don't need. So and I think that.
Argyle now making another change, and it's a senior debut for Tegan Finn, taking to the field, replacing Ryan Hardy. Lee, this is some occasion for the young man.
Why not? Just give him a little bit of a taste of it, like I said about Caleb Roberts,
It was a bit surreal, to be fair. I didn't expect it, because obviously Leeds away is a bit of a atmosphere. I didn't think it would have been that game, but yeah, it was mental. It was a mental experience. It was really loud, and obviously the fans cheer my name when I come on, even though we're losing. It meant a lot.
Final change for Argyle, and it is going to be Michael Bailey withdrawn, Tegan Finn coming on for him. And the first experience of home park first team action for the 16-year-old.
Yeah, certainly highly rated, isn't he? One for the future for sure. Difficult circumstances for him to come on, but showcasing him this evening. He's got a really bright future.
At home, my first game at home weren't the best. We were 5-0 down to Burnley, so it wasn't the best experience, but to play in front of the fans is obviously a really good feeling. But yeah, first home start was this season, which was a lot better against QPR. That one was a lot better.
I think Tegan's love of the game helped him through that difficult period. I think when young players have difficult moments, and it happens a lot through growth and maturation, I think if your love of the game, if you haven't got a pure love of the ball and you know, being competitive and playing against other players, if you haven't got that pure love, I think that that struggle becomes even more. However, I think that he got through that period because of his love of the game and the fact that he, you know, always wanted to be at training, always wanted to be down the park with his brother and with his dad and all the rest of it. So I think his true love of football, which he definitely has, by the way, and a lot of the boys love the game for sure, but there's sometimes a little bit extra that you can see with a boy who's, you know, almost fascinated with the ball. And I think that really probably got him through that difficult period.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I have to have a love for doing it and a love for enjoying it. So that was his strength when he came into the academy. So it's certainly something we weren't going to ever take away from him or take out of him. So we'd have to keep encouraging him. You know, not every time that he takes a player on would he have been successful throughout his journey. There'd be plenty of opportunities where he's had to learn from mistakes and learn from things along the way. But giving him that encouragement to keep persevering, to keep going and trying new things was probably a really important thing for us. So keep trying to develop his strengths even more. You know, I think that you're probably guilty sometimes in an academy where somebody's strong at something and then you'd always focus on their weaknesses and the things that they can or can't do. Whereas really for Tegan it was almost focusing on the things that he could do and making them even better, because those are the things that are going to get you into a team or get you to a professional contract. So I think, yes, we developed a whole host and he's developed a whole host of things around his game, but those are the things that we knew would be, you know, one of the things that he enjoyed and loved to do, passionate about. So we fully harnessed that and allowed him the creativity to do it.
Tegan's got a long way to go. I know I've sat here and not bigged him up, but you know, talked very highly of him, and rightly so, because he's a fantastic young player and a really good young kid as well. But he's got a lot of development still to go really to break into the first team. Jamie and I always talk about 100 games. So you know, we say that you haven't really made it as a professional footballer until you played 100 games. Tegan's only on a handful still, so there's a long way to go. He's still got a lot of physical development to do at his young age, which I think will aid him in what he's already good at. And I'm really excited to see where he can go, and his technical ability and his natural ability will take him so far, and it will be up to him with his mentality and how hard he wants to work to see where that journey can ultimately take him. So he's obviously got fantastic support within the academy structure. I think Tegan is especially lucky really in terms of the family support that he has around him. His parents are fantastic and have supported him really well, especially in those times like I talked about where things weren't going his way. His younger brother was part of the academy as well, so they've spent many an hour up at Ivybridge Community College up at training, and I think that they've just been a really good, you know, support base for us to bounce off as a club, where we've had, you know, development targets for Tegan, and they've understood them and they've encouraged them as well. So I think it's been a really holistic approach from everyone in terms of Tegan's development, not just from the club, but from, like I said, his family network as well, that have been great.
Yeah, very proud, and so does everybody else in the academy, and rightly so. I think when you see one of your own, you see players that have come through that you've you've seen their journey over a longer period of time, and there's many people that are involved in that. It'll never ever be one person's influence. It'll be a number of people along the journey, from his grassroots coaches to the young foundation phase to school teachers. There'll be a number of influences there that he's had across his journey that should all be very proud. Obviously you've got Sam and Nicola, his mum and dad, that again, will be very proud parents and have been throughout his journey as he's hit certain milestones, certain contracts, playing up age groups. Tegan should be very proud of himself as well, for what he's achieved. He's the one that's had to put in the hard work, so whilst we're all proud, he should be the proudest person. He's had to do it.
I think with all the speculation before he signed his contract, I think there was a lot of speculation about what he can do, and I think that speaks highly of the teams that were looking at him. And I think if he's managed correctly, I think if he's advised correctly, he's got a great family. His parents are greatly behind him, and he's got a really, really supportive bunch behind him with his family. I think he can go anywhere. He can go as far as he wants to, and that's the thing. There's a lot of social media. There's a lot of networking platforms that he can go on and look at and stuff like that. My advice is get off it, don't read it, just concentrate on your football, and then get the advice from the manager that he's playing under, and hopefully his agent will just be give him the right kind of advice, and so he makes the best decisions. But at the end of the day, I think it's his family that will be the most supportive, and I think as a father of a professional footballer, I think you've always got to be there at the highs and the lows, because there will be some. So I think, yes, the next step, I think he can play Premier League football if he wants to.